now will never know the love of our Father. What crime has this young girl committed to be denied the love of our Father at such an early age? And the government doesn't seem to care. So what happens to families of our parish ministers? How safe are our ministers? So these are questions that we shall ask. And I'll be speaking tomorrow from Nyeri, because if the worst comes to worst and there is no action, we'll have to mobilize our parish ministers to storm the office of the Inspector General to demand answers. So they can be assured of their safety and their families. Please sit down, Shanice. Our past moderator, Most Reverend Dr. Jesse Kamau, moderator wetu, presbytery, parish minister, Mrs. Esther Dumia, and your children, viongozi wetu, Wakristo wenzangu, God is good and all the time. Nisalimieni ya hewa. Bwana Yesu asifiwe. Bwana Yesu asifiwe tena. Mama Esther and your children, I've also come to say pole. I've come to condole with you following the tragic death of your husband and your father. And as I've told you in the vestry, we don't have enough words to say how sorry we are, and to ask God to give you comfort, to give you fortitude, to bear the great loss. Losing a husband, losing a father is a very difficult thing. The Reverend Julius Dumia was at his prime of his age, and he has left a very young family. 2 twin young men at the university, and this young girl, Shanice. We share your pain and sorrow. And to say, had Reverend Dumia been sick, we will be crying and saying we are very sorry and saddened. Had he died through a road accident, we will be saying we are very sorry and very hurt. But the fact that he has been murdered, we don't just feel sorry and pain. We are angry. We are angry because nobody other than God has the authority to take another man's life. So we have come here to say, as we condole with you and wipe your tears, as leaders and members of this church, we have a responsibility to fight for justice for this family, so that Esther can settle to know who killed her husband and why. So that this young girl, Shanice, who has been denied the chance to enjoy love from her father at such a young age of 7, can have some answers. So that these 2 young men who would have wished that their father would be around to pay dowry for them as they marry would have some answers. Let me say, I want to speak today as a member of this church. Regarding Gachagua, comes from Kirimara West Presbytery, Ruguru Parish, Igajo Congregation, Wamanyoro District. Dr. Jesse Kamau, before he came to live here, is my neighbor at home. We are not very far. He comes from a place called Sugar, like 5 kilometers from where I am. The girl who spoke here on behalf of the pastor's kids captured the mood across the country with families of our parish ministers. Dr. Reverend JC, many parish ministers have called me. I have many friends whom we have interacted, we have worked with across the country. And for the last 2-3 days, I have received more than 100 calls from parish ministers and their spouses saying they are terrified. They don't know whether they are safe. What that girl has said here, our parents safe? Please take care of them. It was a very moving tribute by a child crying about the fate of their parents who serve God. I did place a call to our moderator, Dr. Mutahi Thego, 2 days ago. And I did, with a lot of respect, tell our moderator that I have received a lot of concern that this matter of this murder has not received sufficient attention from the church leadership. We must speak out. Because when you don't speak, people become very bold. They have killed our parish minister in Nakuru. Next day, they will go for the Secretary General of the General Assembly. They will come for the moderator of the General Assembly. We must speak out. And let me say, it is unacceptable that the government is silent on this matter. We are having double standards in this country. This is a minister of PCA Church, one of the largest churches in this country. A church that has contributed immensely to the development of this country since independence. If you go to Chogoria, the PCA hospital there, for the last 5 decades, has transformed lives. If you go to Tumutumu, the PCA hospital there is the savior of the people of that region. If you go to Thogoto here, the eye hospital. If you go to the schools that have been developed by the church, it cannot be a parish minister in the PCA church is murdered. Not a single word from the Inspector General of Police. Not a single word from the CS Interior. Not a single word from the President. Why? This is not just another ordinary Kenyan. And there is double standard in this country. A few months ago, some police officers in Kapsabet went and beat up some young boys who are playing pool. The minister was all over ordering for the arrest of those policemen. They were beaten by some policemen. It was captured on video. The minister was all over. The Inspector General of Police issued a statement castigating the harassment of some young people in Kapsabet by police. A parish minister in the PCA church is murdered in cold blood 5-6 days later. Not a single statement from the Minister for Interior. Not a single statement from the Inspector General of Police. And I must say, I am now persuaded that this government seems to have declared war on our church. Last year, goons, criminals, stormed inside Mweki PCA church, attacked men and women inside church. To date, nobody has ever been arrested. Not a single statement from the president, from IG, from CS Interior. Last December, criminals with the police, with the guns and tear gas, attacked Christians inside Kariobangi PCA church. Not a single statement of condemnation, not a single arrest. Now, a parish minister of our church has been killed. Not a single statement. And I'm just wondering, since independence, no government has ever attacked the PCA church. The government of President Jomo Kenyatta never attacked the PCA church. Daniel Arap Moi, brutal as he was, the nearest they came to attacking our church is attacking Reverend Timothy Joya, but outside the church. They never beat him inside the church. They beat him outside. The government of Mwai Kibaki, Uhuru Kenyatta, tremendous respect for PCA church. This church, I took great time to persuade this church with our ministers to elect the current president. We elected you as president. What do you give us back in kind? Attack of our churches in Mweki, in Kariobangi, and you are silent. Our parish minister has been killed, you are silent. Your CS is silent. IG is silent. But when you wanted to be president, you were in PCA church every Sunday from January to December. True or false? Yes. Iko siku moja tulienda kanisa tatu ya PCA. One Sunday tukaenda pale Thaithi, tukatoka tukaingia Mathaithi, tukaingia Karatina. In one day. Kila pahali milioni mbili. What happened to that love you had for PCA church? You used to come every Sunday to our churches. How come our minister has been killed and you are saying nothing? Your CS is saying nothing. The IG is saying nothing. Let nobody play around with this church. Takuambia waumini mchukue kura na mnyamaze. Mwae kura na mukire. Na mwaigwa mwahiokirwo mukaina Jesu nyendete. Hiyo tu. Let me say nikimalizia. I want to ask a question. Shanice, come here. How do the minister feel when this young girl now will never know the love of her father? What crime has this young girl committed to be denied the love of her father at such an early age? And the government doesn't seem to care. So what happens to families of our parish ministers? How safe are our ministers? So these are questions that we shall ask. And I'll be speaking tomorrow from Nyeri. Because if the worst comes to worst and there is no action, we'll have to mobilize our parish ministers to storm the office of the Inspector General to demand answers. So they can be assured of their safety and their families. Please sit down, Shanice. That young girl who was here representing these families, she captured the mood in all the families. And if church ministers are not safe, who is safe in Kenya? Who is safe? Because ordinarily, retired moderator, when you are in trouble, you either run to your pastor or to the police station. I have been told, I don't want to speculate, that there is a CCTV footage showing the people who killed Reverend Dumia. And the Christians in Nakuru are being intimidated to keep quiet and wait. We want to call upon the police to allow the church to release the CCTV footage so that we see what happened. We don't want cover up. I know yesterday they said they have arrested 2 people because they know we have a funeral tomorrow. We want to ask, the residence of the Reverend Dumia was covered by CCTV. We are calling upon police in Nakuru, before we bury the Reverend Dumia tomorrow, can you release the CCTV footage so that his family and Christians and all of us can have an idea as to who killed the man of God? Finally, mimi niseme, iko jama ya mtu mkubwa sana katika serikali kununua hoteli yetu ya milele pale Mombasa ya PCA. That hotel gives dignity to our church. That is where our ministers and their spouses and elders, when they go to Mombasa, they stay away from the normal hotels where there is alcohol and other things that are not consistent with Christian teachings. That hotel has been given to a receiver. They are collecting 15 million shillings every month, and they are paying 10 to National Bank of Kenya, and 5 million shillings is going to the receiver. It cannot be. And I am contacting a team of lawyers who are members of this church to intervene in that matter. And I want to say that if the worst comes the worst, I'll have to mobilize our members and the wealthy people among our community to raise funds to bail out that hotel, because it belongs to our church. I am also told Milele Mall in Ngong imepangiwa kuuzwa. They want to force a sale so that that man in Kenya who is buying everything achukue hiyo mall ya Ngong na achukue hiyo Milele Hotel in Mombasa. I'll be seeking an appointment with the moderator of the 24th General Assembly after the burial, so that we agree how to save these properties that belong to our members. Hii hoteli yetu kuuziwa huyo mtu is a last act of humiliation of our church and our community. Hii hoteli kama lazima iuziwe watu wetu wa kanisa. Hapo mbeleni walitaka kubomoa kanisa ya PCA Kitengela, nikakataa nikiwa ofisi. Hapa Rongai walitaka kuchukua shamba ya PCA hapa, wajenge manyumba ya avoidable housing, wajenge kiwanja ya mpira private. Kwa hivyo sisi kama kanisa tunavamiwa, mali yetu inataka ichukuliwe. Kama hiyo haitoshi, wameua mchungaji wetu. Hatuwezi kubali. Na mimi sitanyamaza tena. I am going to talk very strongly and defend this church where I am a member. I want to assure our parish ministers, wherever they are, I, with other leaders who work with me, will fight so that you are assured of your security, so that you don't serve in fear, so that your families do not live in fear and anguish. Ati ya kwamba mchungaji akiondoka watoto wako na wasiwasi kama atarudi. As to what happened to Reverend Dumia. Mistaki nipitishe kutoka hapo, nitaongea kesho. But I want to assure our church, hili kanisa letu ni kanisa la Mungu, ni kanisa la nguvu, na hatutakubali tuangaishwe. Hatutakubali. Tunaomba hili kanisa letu lipewe heshima. Hii maneno ya kuvamia kanisa letu la PCA, kuua wachungaji wetu, kunyakua mali ya kanisa ni mambo ambayo hatuwezi kubali. Na lazima tutasimama kidete. Na tutingikorwo tukiruagira bururi, tukaruirira ruriri, turemwo ni kuruirira kanitha witu. Tutingiremwo ni kuruirira kanitha witu. Na huyu Seki nimeongea na yeye, nataka kumfundisha mambo ya mtaratara pole pole. Seki, wewe kwa sababu unataka kuwa governor, hii watu ya PCA ni watu wazuri, but you must know them. Ujue Women's Guild, the first week of June wanakuwaga na maneno. Si iko namna hiyo? Si nimwambie? Iko wazee wengine wanavaa koti kama hii, wanaitwa PCMF. The first week mwezi ya 11 wako na maneno. So wewe tafuta njia ukae na hii watu mzuri. Na huyu senator huyu is a good man. Huyu among the few leaders walikataa kuuza nchi yao pesa, akasimama msimamo, ni huyu Senator Seki. Lakini nataka igiana vizuri na kanisa yetu. Uanzie tarehe 7, you start on 7th. Aya, kaa chini. Hii kijana anaitwa Gogoyo huyu. Hii kijana among the MPs tuko nayo Kenya, is among the few MPs who know what they are doing. Amejenga mashule, si amejenga sana. Tena kwa bunge anasimama na haki ya Wakenya. Finance bill ilikuja akasema hapana. Hata iko ingine wanalete ukatae. Iko na kuja finance bill ingine useme bana. Huyu Ngogoyo mtampatia nafasi? Naomba huyu kijana mumshikilie. Mtamshikilia? Mshikilie huyu kijana. Please sit down. Is a young man who knows what he is doing. Hao wengine wote wanasimama, muweke kwa latiri. Si ndio? Na nimeona ni wengi, muweke kwa nini? Mkuja mjitetee kwa hawa Kristo pole pole. Lakini mjue gari pande hii ni moja. Muingie gari ya kuja hapa. Huwezi kuwa unaenda Rogai unaingia gari ya kwenda Kericho. Si ndio? Huwezi kuwa unaenda Kiserian unaingia gari ya kwenda Kisumu. Utakuwa umepotea. Kila watu wako na gari yako. Kwa hivyo mnajua gari ya area hii. Hata rangi yake mnajua. Hata driver yake mnajua. Sasa nyinyi mkuwe watu werevu. Unaangalia gari ya kwenu, unaona rangi ni ile. Unaangalia driver, unakuta ni kimutu kinyeusi kinaitwa Rigiji, unasema gari yetu ni hii, unaingia. Alafu unaenda kwenu. Si ndio? Niguado itu. Toka kuga pole Mama Esther. Pole sana. Na Gogoyo nimemwambia hii vijana apange. Ile fees yao imebaki ulipe yote. Waende wasome. Si ndio? Yeah. Alafu huyu Shanis uone mama yake. Mimi na wewe tupange vile huyu mtoto atasoma. Kwa sababu lazima tufanye hivyo. This young girl, we must make sure that one day mkimwangalia mnaona baba yake, si ndio? We must support this young girl. Na nyinyi vijana vile nimemwambia, mkae na mama yenu karibu. Stay close to your mother. Please hold her hand and walk with her. Make her feel okay. It's not easy to lose a companion. It's a very difficult time for your mother. Much as it's a difficult time for you, it's much more difficult for her. So stay together as a family, love one another, and protect the dignity of your late father. The rest wachie Mungu. Uwadwa ito. Moko gaidhania. Ni moko gaidhania. Ni mulioka kujerera wa Monyoro. Yeah? Mogo kari. Yeah? Mokare honu. Yeah? Ate? Gogoyo. Haya. Na yo guild ito parish ino ere na loko shigana. Loko shigana. Riu nake sekina gogoyo. Seki ninga gutuma kanitha igiri na gogoyo igiri. Neguo. Todo namo guild ni ogituge gya kanitha witu wa PCA. Seki no waigua. Waigua te. Ati guild ndio kikingi, ndio pila ya kanisa yetu ya PCA. So ukishikilia akina mama ya guild umeshikilia kanisa. Niguo atimia guild ndi yake mwaririria ona ni no gatumana nigetha mukithondeke maundu manyu tondu uguo niguo twikaga. Thengio muno, Ngai witu amurathime na mwike wega. Moderator unisamea nimeongea sana, but I needed to speak because it's important to protect the dignity of